Welcome to Getting the Most from Remote Learning by the Learner Development Team at Manchester Metropolitan University. First, let's discuss some pros and cons of remote learning. There are some cons. Have a look. However, there are also a large number of positives to remote learning. You can see some here. As you can see, all the negatives can be overcome by making the best use of resources, thinking creatively, and ensuring you connect properly with the university, your course mates, and your tutors. The space in which you study is extremely important. There are some tips we can recommend to ensure your study space is as good as it can be. Try to avoid working where you sleep and in leisure spaces. Keep distractions to a minimum. Have regular breaks away from your workspace. Regularly look away from your screen at something distant to avoid eye strain. Keep a clear and tidy workspace. Work somewhere comfortable and supportive. And finally, gather all the materials you need before starting. Follow these tips and your study space will be as effective as it can be. An important part of learning remotely is making the best use of the resources you have available to you. Moodle is one. Can you remember everything that is on your Moodle page? There will be essential unit information and handbooks, resource lists, study skills support and external links, assessment information and marking rubrics, lecture capture videos, and discussion spaces, notice boards, and vital contact information. Make sure to explore each relevant area on Moodle, as useful things may appear. Other resources you should exploit to your advantage are your syllabus and your reading list. Take a detailed look at all of your reading lists and see if any of the titles might be especially useful to the way you want to write your essay. Don't forget to use library search to find the information on your reading list, additional resources, and extra reading. Now, we will look at a reading web. It can be tempting to just look at your reading list and see it as a to-do list of texts to get through. Actually, our reading list should be a starting point. We start with our reading list and handbook. We find a text from the reading list and another text from the seminar reading. From that first text, we find two more relevant texts from the reference list. From the second text, we find a useful text from a quote. Then we find another useful text from a diagram we saw, and three more texts from the reference list and an in-text paraphrase. As you can see, your reading list should just be the start. It's really important to take all these steps and diversify how you find your sources. And all of this can be done remotely. Remote learning can feel isolating at times. To combat this, consider building a supportive study network. It can consist of reading circles, video conference seminars, discussion boards or forums, and other things you can see here. There are a number of advantages to having one. Have a look. There are a few key do's and don'ts with supportive study networks. Do agree on study hours during which you will discuss university work. Try and synchronize breaks, agree a shared goal for your group, and use accurate, accessible, and inclusive language. Don't use the same channel for all types of communication. Don't be too flexible with timings and deadlines. Try to emulate the structure of your university course. Don't assume all your peers are comfortable with the technology, but offer help where needed. Don't add vague notes or leave them free-form. Try to have a structure. A reading circle is particularly beneficial. It allows you to benefit from the perspectives of your peers, synthesize different texts effectively, emulate seminar discussion, and explore your reading list in more detail as a group. Here's how to do it. Split into teams. Here we have 2 teams. Each team takes a text or texts to focus on. Read the text, annotate, or take notes. Then upload all notes to a shared area by an agreed deadline. Meet up, online or on the phone, discuss the texts, sharing key information and answering questions. The aim of a reading circle is to stimulate discussion and criticality and build on your understanding of a text. The aim is not to copy or steal each other's notes. A reading circle also helps by preventing you being isolated with your texts. Instead, you actively use them to create academic dialogue with your peers. It is important to remember that even though you are learning remotely, your tutor is still there to support you. However, there are definitely some things you should consider when connecting with your tutor. Be respectful of office hours, avoid late night emails, and be patient. Plan ahead for meetings and prepare thoroughly. Decide what needs to be an email to your tutor and what you can find out yourself using other resources. Establish clearly what is your responsibility and what is your tutor's. Think about other sources of support which might be appropriate, such as study skills and library support. Today, we have looked at 6 main points of making the most of remote learning. Which did you find the most helpful? Which tips and strategies do you want to try now? Use what you've learned today to help maximize your potential learning from home. Thanks for watching.